The victory of Javier Milei in Argentina's primary elections has generated some very interesting headlines in some leading newspapers. Let's talk about it all. Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. Please subscribe, leave your comments below and give a like to the video if you like it. Argentina's problems are very significant, but none of them come from the arrival of Mr. Javier Milei as a possible candidate for the presidency of the country. Mr. Milei has been called radical, has been called an anti-system and even a far-right candidate. However, what we must understand is that Argentina's problems are not Javier Milei. Argentina's problems have been created by the so-called 21st century socialism implemented by the Peronist governments of Cristina Fernández de Kirchner and Alberto Fernández. Let's start to understand what they did in order to make a very rich country a very poor one. They created massive levels of poverty and have obliterated the currency. Number one, the first thing, obviously, nationalize, expropriate, a very typical decision. The rule of law and investor and legal security were completely obliterated by the Cristina Fernández de Kirchner government through different expropriations that obviously created a complete lack of trust on the government about its solvency and its reliability. Obviously, the defaults, expropriations, etc., first destroyed legal and investor security. That wasn't all. Second, increase massively government spending that has absolutely nothing to do with the important issues that are faced by Argentina. Government spending has soared in the last years from 23% of GDP to almost 46% of GDP. Furthermore, most of that government spending does not go, as they say, to social issues, but to political spending. Massive levels of corruption and political spending. And if we look, for example, at the different provinces, 57% of the provinces in Argentina have more public employment than private employment. Public employment has risen 7 times faster than private employment in the country since the Peronists took over, and the government spending has soared, obviously, in local currency. How do they finance such massive government spending? You guessed it. Printing money for the people, inclusive monetary policy, printing money for the people, modern monetary theory. One of the key defenders of modern monetary theory, Mr. Axel Kicillof, was the Minister of Economy for Ms. Cristina Fernández de Kirchner. The Central Bank of Argentina started monetizing all and every government deficit at the fastest pace seen in decades. Furthermore, the level of monetary base increase by the Central Bank of Argentina rose dramatically, and government spending rose more than tax revenues and inflation. So, government spending led inflation and increased with inflation higher than tax revenues, generating even more inflation. Massive increase in the monetary base. We're talking about more than 170% in 3 years. We're talking about 1,700% in a little bit more than a decade. Okay? Not only that, but the Central Bank of Argentina disguises new issuances of money by issuing short-term debt at very elevated levels of rates. So what they do is that they bloat the balance sheet of the central bank with newly issued debt. That means more monetary base increase in the future, i.e. more inflation. So in the inflationary policies of the Cristina Fernández de Kirchner and Alberto Fernández governments have been enormous. And in the middle, they had a center-right government led by Mr. Macri, who inherited one of these time bombs, one of these enormous time bombs of more than 22 billion equivalent dollars of issued debt included in the central bank that meant further increases in the monetary base. So, from increases in inflation every year of about 40 to 50%, the inflationary tax is now more than 100%. So this is the problem of Argentina. Massive government spending financed with huge increases in the quantity of money that citizens try to defend themselves by doing what? They try to convert their pesos to dollars as much as they can, because they know that the government is going to destroy the purchasing power of the currency no matter what. Furthermore, not just massive increase in money supply, but massive increase in taxes. The taxation system in Argentina is insane. A small and medium enterprise can pay up to 100% of its revenues in taxes with all of the different taxes that they suffer. Not just that, but there's another hidden tax for exporters. It's called the exchange clamp, the cepo cambiario, which basically makes any exporter, anybody that has reserves, US dollars, foreign currency, they're forced to convert their foreign currency into pesos at an exchange rate that the government sets that has absolutely nothing to do with the reality. In Argentina, there are more than 10 exchange rates to the US dollar, which means that obviously the reality is that they have a failed currency. In this period, the peso has lost more than 98% of its value against the dollar. It's one of the worst currencies in the world against the US dollar. More importantly, it is one of the worst currencies in the region, only comparable to the Cuban peso or the Venezuelan bolivar. Ah, what a surprise. Another example of two countries that have implemented the so-called inclusive monetary policy and the so-called socialism of the 21st century. Not just high taxes, expropriation, lack of legal security, massive money printing, but also the reality is that all of these policies have created 18 million people in poverty, 39% poverty rate. Furthermore, the peso is a completely failed currency that has no value whatsoever for citizens domestically or internationally. So when people discuss the validity of a dollarization, it is almost a joke because nobody seems to be considering the reality of the fact that Argentina has a failed currency. It's not the viability of dollarization, it's the lack of viability of the peso, what is the matter. And what we are seeing is, interestingly, that now a candidate is telling citizens exactly what they know. Is telling them that it's the central bank, not supermarkets, that is destroying the purchasing power of the currency. It's telling them that it's the government that is massively bloating political spending against making everyone poorer, their salaries weaker, and their savings vanish. It's telling them that what needs to be implemented are policies of economic freedom. This is not a radical agenda. This is not an anti-system agenda. This is a pro-wealth, pro-growth, and pro-logic agenda. What Mr. MILEI is proposing, I find it absolutely fascinating to read that these are radical proposals. The people in Argentina have been suffering is the most radical proposals, the most radical policies. Those radical policies have already been implemented. Massive money printing, huge taxation, expropriation, and destruction of legal security and investor security. Therefore, the arrival of Mr. Milei is only the logic that happens when citizens understand that the problem of Argentina is not this new candidate that is telling things as they are, is that what they have been suffering for so many years is a confiscatory and a completely interventionist government that has implemented an extractive monetary policy that has made everyone poorer. So, the problem of Argentina is not Mr. Milei. The problem of Argentina is the current government. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel, like my videos, leave your comments below, and keep defending freedom. Thank you very much.